What is going on, Pats Nation? It's Patriots Global back here with another video, and in this one, we're going to be talking about how Cam Newton has been working out with a couple of the New England Patriots wide receivers already, despite this whole pandemic still going around and training camp not officially starting. Now, we are coming up on 2 weeks since the New England Patriots had signed free agent quarterback Cam Newton, which is just bizarre. I can't believe it's already been 2 weeks. But there's been 2 guys that he's already worked out with that are a part of the New England Patriots organization. One of them is Mohamed Sanu, and this is something that we've known for a while. Mohamed Sanu had been working out with Cam Newton even before Cam Newton had signed with the New England Patriots, but even after he was signed, they worked out yet again. But also N'Keal Harry, and I think that is the one that is going to pick more people's heads and is going to stand out the most, because there are nothing but high expectations for N'Keal Harry heading in to his sophomore season. Now, there is a lot riding for Mohamed Sanu also, don't get me wrong, but there is much more riding on N'Keal Harry because he was a first-round pick. Now, a video surfaced of N'Keal Harry and Cam Newton working out, which is kind of how news broke about this whole situation happening. And luckily enough for us, that video was released. N'Keal Harry is 1, looking good and sharp, but 2, he's looking healthy, and that is the most important thing for N'Keal Harry, for the Patriots offense heading into the 2020 season. N'Keal has been working all offseason in Houston, Texas, really trying to just learn the lower half of his body. N'Keal Harry's the guy who's always been more so the upper body strength and trying to get separation and just kind of edge defenders off with that. And it didn't pan out well because in the NFL, your lower body is what's really going to get you separation. But I'm not going to talk much about that because we already talked about that in another video if you want to hear about that. But it's looking to me like his footwork, just the dynamics of the lower half of his body, is looking much better than it did, let's say, this past season. This, again, was their first time meeting, N'Keal Harry and Cam Newton, and they both just looked very determined. Now, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just the vibes I'm getting off, but to me, they both look very devoted and very focused and very determined, which makes sense because both of them have a lot to prove. If you're Cam Newton, you're trying to prove everybody wrong. You used to be a former NFL MVP, one of the best in the league, and now nobody wanted to sign you after you were released by the Carolina Panthers. In fact, there were backups that were preferred over you. And then if you're N'Keal Harry, you were selected in the first round by the Patriots and by Bill Belichick. And that's the first time Bill Belichick had ever done that. And so, of course, expectations were going to be high on you. He had issues staying healthy. A lot of people wanted to call him a bust, which I think is just ridiculous. But again, a guy that has a lot to prove heading into this next season. Now, something that I noticed about Cam Newton in this video is that his throwing mechanics are looking nice. Now, we do have to take that with a grain of salt just because, look, there's not pads on. They're not going up against opposing defenses like they will be in training camp in a few weeks, which will be a lot more telling. But just the mechanics and the techniques of his throwing arm, especially after this surgery, it's looking better than I've seen Cam Newton even this past year or even the year prior. Now, how will his lower body pan out? How will his legs be good after the whole surgery? That is still yet to be determined, and we will find that out within a few weeks. But the fact that we're able to see his arm is really important, and he showed the ability to still have a strong arm, good throwing power, and being able to get it down the field, which I think is going to be really important because that's his play style, and that is something that I think we all could really, really love to see, or would like to see rather, in the New England Patriots offense. These bigger plays, more big shots down the field, and they have ability to do that with guys like N'Keal Harry, with guys like potentially Mohamed Sanu and Damiere Byrd. And of course, we've talked about this before, but Cam Newton just loves those big, those tall, those athletic wide receivers. In Carolina, that is something that they kind of surrounded him with especially in there with Greg Olsen, but they did it a lot too with their wide receivers, not just their tight ends, and that just panned out really well for Cam Newton. Cam Newton loves to target his big wide receivers, especially down the field, guys who will have better advantages over cornerbacks. And ironically, the two guys that he's worked out with so far are some of the biggest wide receivers that the New England Patriots have offensively. You have Mohamed Sanu, who sits at 6'2", and then you have N'Keal Harry, who sits at 6'4". So I think you're clearly seeing a dynamic here with Cam Newton and kind of what he's trying to do and who he's trying to build chemistry with, more specifically, what types of wide receivers he's going to build chemistry with. Now, for those of you who are worried about Julian Edelman, I would say don't be worried. Julian Edelman is still Julian Edelman. And let's remember that Ted Ginn, who was one of Cam Newton's favorite targets when he was with Carolina, he's only 5'11". So he was a small guy, and he still found success with Cam Newton. So I wouldn't worry about that. I'm super thrilled that Cam Newton is taking the initiative to go ahead and try to get caught up within the New England Patriots system, building chemistry, learning the playbook, and working out with these guys because let's remember, Cam Newton was just signed. Although this whole pandemic is still going around, although this offseason was highly affected because of this pandemic, there have been other guys who are still much further ahead on the ball than Cam Newton is because these other guys have already been able to learn the playbook. They've been able to hold individual workouts if they wanted to. For example, Jarrett Stidham. So Cam Newton on his end has to do everything possible, especially if he wants to prove everybody wrong. He's got to start taking that initiative. And clearly he's doing that. I mean, we already saw Cam Newton going over the Patriots playbook. It's extremely tough, but it sounds like Julian Edelman is helping him out with that. And then just like Jarrett Stidham did, Cam Newton is holding private workouts with these guys. Now, training camp is right around the bend, and that will give us a much better feel on what to expect from Cam Newton and the Patriots offense in 2020. And for all we know, he could have a great connection with guys that he hasn't even worked out with yet. But heading into training camp, you better believe that Mohamed Sanu and N'Keal Harry are going to be two guys that he's comfortable with because he's already worked out with them, opposed to guys like Jacoby Myers, Julian Edelman, who, again, I wouldn't worry about, Marquise Lee, and everybody else. In fact, because of the connection that we have seen, especially this offseason, between Mohamed Sanu and Cam Newton, this could really be a true breakout season for Mohamed Sanu. But that is going to be it for today's video. What are your guys' thoughts on Cam Newton working out with N'Keal Harry and Mohamed Sanu? Now, for right now, that is all we know. We don't know if he's been working out with other guys, but we only know that he's working out with N'Keal Harry and Mohamed Sanu because videos on both of these have been released. So make sure you guys drop your thoughts on the situation in the comment section below. Go ahead and share this video with everybody you know, whether they're a Patriots fan or whether they hate the Patriots, just to pump them up about New England heading into the 2020 season. Also, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you guys haven't already, and make sure to hit that subscribe button for all of your New England Patriots news. But like always, thank you guys so much for watching.